is less,
I see.
50%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but actually I see still a lot of visitors, but they are from Europe or America.
Oh,
I didn't see Korean or visitor or Japanese or Chinese. I
I
didn't
see.
see them. Yeah,
Ah, yeah. And
and
okay. Hmm?
nobody wear facial mask.
Oh,
I don't know why, but nobody
you know,
wear mask.
it's interesting because, for example, in the USA, I was reading in the paper that
Mm-hmm.
they said, "Oh, you don't have to get a mask.
Yeah,
Only if you're sick, you should wear a mask."
yeah.
Because, but
I see.
you know though, they are just saying this because if everybody wants to get a mask, they will
Mm-hmm.
not have enough masks.
Yeah,
And
I see.
so people who are working in healthcare, like nurses who are helping the sick patients, maybe they won't have enough masks for the people who really need them.
Mhm.
So they tell everybody not to go rush to get a mask. But I think this is bad information for you as an individual person. I think you should have a mask. Yeah.
Yeah,
But the government
I
tells you,
see.
oh, you don't need it, that you don't need it. But the government lies, you know. Yeah. You know, so maybe I was thinking today uh, we will have a talk again about the same topic as parenting. So I thought though maybe we could do something a little bit different, but maybe Emma can tell us about her ideas for parenting because she wasn't here last time. And then maybe we can kind of have some other discussions about parenting that are a little different, you know? Maybe so we can have sort of like a freestyle discussion, right? So this would be like a freestyle. So we can kind of just talk maybe about some random ideas or some different ideas about parenting and education and how we think it'll be in the future. Maybe we could do that if you're okay with that idea. I feel like we talked about this idea last class, so there isn't really too much to say. You already read your papers to me, so you know I think we should move to maybe something more interesting now because we talked about it already. Okay, so that sounds good. If you really
Yes,
want to
it goes good.
if you really want to tell me more about parenting, you can. I have it's no problem.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought maybe it would be fun if we kind of move to different ideas within parenting that you know you did not write about in your paper, so we can have more discussion. Yeah, but not prepared discussion. You know, something we can just talk about in general, our ideas, right? We practice conversation skills. So I will turn my light on now. I'm recording. I will turn my light on, and then maybe Emma, you can tell us about your ideas in parenting and uh, your thinking on this matter. But
Yeah,
everybody maybe
okay.
can write down one question for Emma for when she finishes her paper. This way, we can be actively listening to Emma. Okay, so let's do some active listening here. So everybody has one question for her when she's done. Okay. Okay, I will turn on my light and then we can start.
Okay.
Oh, it's so bright. Okay, you ready?
Okay. Hi everyone. Today, I would like to tell you about something I learned from the way my parents raised and educated me. Let me tell you my story first. When I was the child, maybe 5 years old, my parents enrolled me in a dancing course at a cultural house. It was an awesome summer. I learned to dance three times a week, made friends and played with them in during break times. I remember that I was one of the best dancer in my class, so my teacher selected me for a dancing team to perform to perform for cultural shows. However, my parents rejected my teacher's suggestion. They were afraid that my study would be influenced when I started to learn grade 1. My parents always said that I have to focus on studying. That's all. After that, I only tried to study hard and never joined any activities in school, even university. I think it is one of the reasons why I lack necessary skills when I go to work. For a long time, I lacked confidence and feared crowd because because I think that I was not good at anything. Now it is so difficult for me to overcome these fears and change my will. That is my story. I know it. I know it influenced me a lot. So I really want to change my parents' thinking about how important studying art subjects or attending social activities are. Learning in school, learning in school is important, but not all. In order to have a happy life, I not only need knowledge, but also many things like confidence, soft skills, experience with my friends, and doing what I like. My parents love me so much, I know that, but they never listen to me and understand what I really like. If I have a child, I would like my child to have a well-rounded education and development. I mean, my child would be educated in school and knowledgeable about art, sport, or anything he or she wants. In summer, I don't want to take my child to extra classes. I will take my child to travel or attend some courses where he or she would learn, could enjoy a wonderful summer with new friends. Maybe he or she could learn some soft skills from summer courses. I think that parenting is not easy, especially in the complex life. But I really hope that in the future, I could be my friends, I could be my children's friend, listen to them, and show my love to them properly. It could be great to see my children being happy and growing every day. It's in my thinking about parenting. Thank you for listening.
Okay, great. Thanks for sharing. So I think there are many interesting ideas from from your paper and your reading. You know, so when you were a child and you were saying that you had these experiences, how old were you? Maybe like 5 or 6?
Yes,
Yeah,
5 years old.
yeah, and I think this highlights the real importance and I think like the delicate nature of raising children, and that what how you are raised and things that happen when you are so young affect you through your whole life. You see, even now, it is difficult for you to get away from these this thinking, right, and these thoughts and this feeling.
Yes, because in my in from 5 years old until I am 18 years old, I just only study.
Mm,
I didn't attend any activities like playing sport or learn something learn something about art
yeah.
or dancing or singing. So I think I'm not good at anything, and I don't have any skills,
Mm,
confidence or communicate skills or convince skills. I don't have anything.
yeah. See, I think it's interesting too because what about the other aspect? You know, many times parents want their children to do so many different things and to be good in other things too, right? So there are many children also who, when they're younger, their parents make them go and do maybe this kind of sport or study this kind of thing, and then they don't like it forever. They don't like it when they're young, and they have bad memories from childhood, right? Like maybe they say, "Oh, I never want to play this piano ever again," you know. So
Yeah, I
it's
know.
it's hard. I think it's difficult, right? It's a challenge. Like, what is the right balance? You didn't, if they didn't show you, so you don't feel confident, but then maybe if they showed you so many things, maybe you didn't like those experiences too, and you also have a problem when you are older with this kind of way, you know. I think yeah, it's real challenging to raise children, you know. I find this to be the case, I think. And so they also, like we talked about the last class, that you have like these different intelligences, right, and these different skills, and we want to develop them all, but our school system only kind of developed your mind in a certain way to be maybe a teacher or a professor, a lawyer, something like this, right? It
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
gives you
I
this
know.
stuff, but maybe not so much if you want to be an artist, or if you
Mm,
want to play music, or if you want to do other types of things. Our schooling doesn't really focus on this form of education. So the idea is we could find a way that would help people develop many different skills and aspects of their talent, you know. But how do you do this, you know? Because when you have school system, you have many students. So everybody can't do everything, right? It'd be crazy to go to school. You see little children doing everything, you know. One children is playing music, making a lot of noise. The other children is doing artwork. The other child is sitting listening to the teacher. The other child is doing exercise. It would be very crazy, right? So I yeah, I think the nature of like public school is you have to try to find like a way, you know, for everybody
mm,
that can be teaching many things for many people at the same time, but yet not so much that it makes it crazy, you know? So I think it's an interesting challenge.
yeah, but I think in Vietnam, students have to learn heavily, you know. So we don't have enough time for other activities if they want to learn. So
Well,
it's
a
so
lot,
heavy.
a lot of the education too, I find when you are young is less about learning and more about memory. So maybe you learn about history, about what happened in Vietnam, but you don't really learn maybe about why, about how to think critically, about how to think about, was this good? Was this bad? Like, let's think about things deeper. At least in the US, it's like this way, right? You are just memorizing a lot of things. You know, you are memorizing maybe the life of people or what they wrote, but maybe you spend less time on understanding sort of the deeper meaning behind what they said, you know, and how they said it, the method they used to find these answers. You don't learn about the method they used, you learn about just the answer, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, many different ways. And so, how about in the future too? For example, like so when you go to teach your children about things that you feel they should learn in the future, what if the future is very different from how you think it will be? So, for example, what if you think writing is a nice thing? You know, maybe you think it is nice to write well and it would be good to be a writer. Your child likes to write, and so you encourage your child to write. Well, but what if in the future there aren't, like, this is not a good job? You know, so what happens? Or if you want, maybe you think it is good to be a teacher because you are a teacher. But with technology, maybe there will not be teachers anymore. There will be robots and machines who will teach the children and not humans. So if you are a teacher today, you think, oh, teaching is very nice and my children want to be like me. So I think maybe it is nice to teach them how nice it is to teach other people. So you raise them and then now they want to be a teacher like their mother or father. But maybe this is not good in the future, right? This is not a good job to have. So it's a really tricky thing. How will the future be? And how can you best prepare your children for the future? Because all you have in your life is how you experience the past, right? But the future, I think, will be very different from the past. You will have a different way of learning, and you will need to know about different things also in the future. I think the future will be very different from the past, but we will try to guide the children based on our experience of the past, right? And this is kind of the big problem, is that people do this out of habit. They think about what it was like in the past, and they try to think that it will be like this in the future. But I don't think it will be like this in the future. So what can you do? It's a hard question, I think. Yeah. There are no right answers. But some people will learn valuable skills when they are young, and some people will learn skills that are no longer valuable in the future. And this is how we will have difference in society. There will be successful people, and then there will be people who are not successful. This is, I think, how this comes about. Starts when you are young. I think so. Maybe you can tell me what you think about this, and other people have questions for Emma. What do you think, Vanek? Do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question for Emma. Okay, Emma, I see that now you are more confident. You are, you know, I think that some soft skills that you get, you are good at all. So, but how do you overcome to be more confident? Because you tell us that in the high school, in the school, you only focus on studying in the school. You don't have any activity outside of school, right? And could you share with us the journey how to, you know, overcome? Yeah.
That's a great
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
When I launched university, I live far away from my family. You know, it means I live in Ho Chi Minh City alone. So I have to do everything by myself. And when and after that, I meet a lot of people. I make new friends, and I enrolled some some club such as martial art,
Mm-hmm.
Việt
Yeah.
Nam, Võ
Mm-hmm.
Việt
Yeah,
Nam,
I
yeah.
see.
Oh, you do
And
martial arts. You know how to fight.
yes,
Oh,
yes,
that's interesting.
I learned martial art
I see.
three years, three
Ah,
years.
but how do you call, what is the name of it in Vietnamese? Can you write it for me? Can you type it for me?
Okay, okay. It's a martial art of Vietnam.
Ah, Vô Vi Nam.
Võ Việt Nam,
Vo
yes,
Nam. Ah,
yeah.
I see.
and
Maybe you are
and
a dangerous woman.
no,
Be
no.
careful with her.
Uh, Actually, I forget. I forget for Vietnam because for a long time I haven't do it. I
I
haven't
have
done it. Yeah.
you haven't fight some guys, right?
And I have some course. I have to communicate and present pre thuyết trình là gì nhỉ? Pre
Present,
and present,
present.
yes, and present before my class. So it makes me become more and more confident, and I know I have to overcome my fear to
Yeah,
mhm, because I know um, confident and communicate skills or present skills, they are so important for my job for my jobs.
yeah,
So I have to learn every day. I have to practice every day. In the first time, it is so difficult, but I think the first time when I stand up in front of my class, I feel very very scared.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay,
but finally I still finished my essays, and I know I can do it. I can do it if if I try. If I try, and
I think, you
actually,
know, maybe everybody is scared of you now. So you, so
no,
so they're scared of
especially for
you.
men.
It's different now,
no.
yeah. Before you are scared of them. Now you take Vô Vi Nam, and now they are scared of you. So you are comfortable.
You know, I learned for Vietnam just 3 years, and after that I learned yoga. I learned yoga for balance outside and inside in my mind. And actually, I'm not a dangerous. Don't be scared me.
You mean you are balanced now, right?
Yeah, I want to learn yoga for balance my mind, my soul, and my physical health. You know.
How
Yeah.
long have you been learn yoga?
Uh, Maybe 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years.
So long.
After
Now?
after after I finished Vietnam, I started to begin yoga,
Yeah, right.
and now I still learn yoga.
In the center, Emma?
Yes, in center in district one. District one. It's near my company, so it is convenient for me from um, learning yoga and going to work.
So now, if in your opinion, if you have children, what is more important before you have kids? I mean, what do you think?
What is important for my children?
Before you have children, I mean, your prepare
Ah,
preparation,
my
your
prepared.
kid.
Ah, actually, I really excited to read some book about educating children. Uh, Actually, I just read them and research some method for uh, for nourishing children. Uh, just reading, just like that, reading book.
More detail. Something about. I can you share more detail, like money or your husband in the future you want, or your health? Yeah, you will prepare for you prepare your health for your kid before they come. I mean something like this.
Yeah, I know that before I'm pregnant, I should prepare for my health, and I um I focus on exercise and food, what I eat every day, and I think I should keep my mental and my mental and my spiritual is always peaceful and happy. I think it's also they are also influenced my baby uh, in my uh, in my womb. Yeah, I think so. But actually, it's
So
a
far,
yeah, it is so far. And now I haven't prepared anything for that. You know, I don't have. I'm not married. Yeah, I'm not married yet, so I don't appreciate about baby or husband or family.
I
that's
see.
good.
Okay, great. That's a good question, Rubies. How about you, Snow? Do you have a question for Emma?
Yes, Emma. You think you say that you want to learn dancing, but the parents don't agree. So if one day the kid say you he want to learn dancing or something, but they don't want to focus on study and don't want to learn. So what will you do?
Um, it's so interesting. um,
And difficult too.
That's a
yeah,
good question. Yeah.
difficult. Um, Actually, I want to my children can um, can be educated in school, but he also um, knowledgeable about something like art subject if he like, and I will advise him that okay, I support you for your favorite, but you should also focus your study because maybe you just like it for a long uh, temporary. Maybe it's not your favorite in a long time or forever. So before you decided what is your job, what is your passion, you should focus on your study. But I will make condition for for you to learn everything you like. But you should have to balance between your study and your favorite, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good
Until
point. Go ahead, Emma.
I think until he maybe 18 years old or 20 years old, he can decide everything. But before the age, he should listen his parents. Yeah,
Yeah, so
I think so.
what, like, I think it's a dilemma when, so we know that a lot of times children will like things for only a short amount of time, that their ideas change a lot. So maybe your child does something that you don't really like so much. Maybe they have maybe some kind of habit that you don't really like, or something like this. And so how do you go about this, right? Because if you tell them you don't want them to do it, then this makes children many times want to do it just because you say don't do it, right? So they want to do it now. But the
I
thing
know.
is, maybe if you just let them do what they want to do, maybe they will decide they don't like it anymore after some time, right?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
what if they keep liking it though? If they like it for a long time, and then this is not maybe so good. So it's a tricky balance. For example, right? So, do you know skateboarding? Have you heard of this idea? It's skateboarding.
Skateboarding.
Yeah.
Hình
So
như là
it's
lướt ván thì vậy.
is this how? Yeah. So it's a board with the wheels, right? And so many times in the U.S., parents would not want their children to do this, right? Because it's dangerous. You can get hurt. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
get hurt, and also many times there are like a culture around this activity. Many times there are kids who are not the best kids, right? They're not the best kids, and so they all hang out together and they go skateboarding. So maybe you think this is a bad idea because you don't want your children to hang around these people and you feel like they can get hurt. So you don't want this. But the problem is if you tell them no, they might want to do it more. It might become more fun and more interesting for them. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's a hard thing, I think, to try to manage and to balance. Because if you let them do it, maybe they will get hurt. Or maybe they will be influenced by the bad kids. So maybe these kids will not like to study. They will just they don't want to go to school. And then maybe your child becomes like this. They don't want to go to school either now. But if you are too forceful in saying no more hanging, you cannot hang out with these kids, you cannot skateboard, then this can be a big problem for your children too, because maybe your children will think, wow, my mom and my dad, they don't support me. They don't like to support what I want to do. And they are young children. So this can be a big problem for their mind because they feel like they don't have their parents' support in what they do in life and what they like. So I think it is very tricky, yeah, because you have to find the right balance. Because maybe if you say, okay, I support what you like, and maybe in 6 months' time, they will find out that they don't like this so much anymore, and they won't do it. you know. So how do you balance this, you know? I think it's very hard. There is
Yeah, I
no
know.
right answer. Yeah, there's no right answer to it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of luck in good parenting. Yeah, a lot of luck. Yeah. And so, Emily, do you have any questions for Emma?
Yes, I have. I curious about your story, so I have two questions for Emma. The first question: what kind of courses you want your child join it in the future? The two questions: how how could you change your parents' thinking? I can. Are you
That's good. Yeah,
understand?
it's a good question.
Thank you, Emily. For the first question, um, I will actually I will ask my children what what do you want to learn, and I will support them. Maybe maybe now he like to learn piano, but maybe tomorrow he doesn't like it. Um, so I think I will ask them if they don't know, maybe I will try to take them go to some class, and they can learn and they can decide what they like to learn. Yeah, and second for the second question, how could you change your parents' thinking? Um, Actually, I don't change my parents' thinking when I am 18 years old. I went to university and I changed my mind, my habit, my view by myself. And when I come back home, I just discuss and talk with my parents, just discuss, and they see my difference from me, and they understand that, oh, um, their daughter become different, and she changed, and she has some good um and that's all. I don't change anything. I just talk with my parents about my life, about my opinions, about my habits, about my experience, and they understand.
Yeah, right. When you change your mind, uh, your parents will change.
Yeah, and some because I have a young brother, I don't want my parents educated him me like me before. So sometimes I give them some advice, and my ear and my emotion, my feeling, my experience, to make them understand that they should change their way educating their children. Yeah, just like that.
Okay,
Yes.
great. And Rubies, do you have any other questions you want to ask? Do you want to ask any questions or to
I
Emma?
think I want ask other. I want ask no that
Sure.
she had children now. So I want to know how about her opinion in education for kids in this time, like homeschooling, like this, when while they can't go to school now.
You asked me.
I want to ask Snow.
Yeah,
Fit,
okay.
fit.
Oh, okay. You can.
So, mm,
I don't hear clear. You can.
I mean, most students they don't go to school since that holiday, right? Most students still at home now. So how do you think if we must move to teach them by through via internet? So how do you think if I mean what is your solution in this time?
Oh, I think if students don't go to school, they learn at home. Is good and not good. Good, I think they can't learn, but don't move. Um, and after learn, they can do many things for the parent. Yes, but I don't think so. Students don't want to go to school. I think many students want to school now. Yeah,
But
because
I mean, are
they.
you ready if we can't take them to school? Do you have solution? Another way to teach them?
Oh. Mm,
For
I think it's
example,
really important.
yeah, like
How?
what happens if
Bring
nobody goes
bring
back to
them
school? Yeah.
bring them up Hama village. Have people take care of them. Yeah.
I think so. On I think if I have money, I will stay at home, don't go to work and teach them.
Ah, I see.
Hama
So
is a good choice.
Yes, Hama
Yeah,
is
of course.
best choice.
yeah, because if maybe there's no school for the rest of the year, maybe until the end of summer, you have a break, and maybe you will not return until it's finished.
Or maybe we will change education forever.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you said this because I was reading a good article about the online education has really exploded in number of people using this now because of the virus. And it could be that there are big social changes in the way we think about online education from this. So, for example, many stocks and many companies' values are going down now, right? Because the economy and people are very nervous about, there could be a big crash really in economic business, right? But what companies are doing still pretty good right now is Zoom,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because yeah, Zoom is
really.
benefiting a lot from people staying home. So Zoom will be a company that will actually make more money if the virus continues. Yeah. And so, but the article was saying about how many teachers in places like China, they were reluctant to give children and students their personal information for studying and stuff. But now with the virus, you know, it is more acceptable to give students their email address, their telephone numbers, things like this. So they did not like to do this before. So and maybe also in the future, now that we are, you know, many people are learning online because of this virus, maybe there will be more learning online even when the virus goes away, because I think the online learning does have some good things too, you know. So, you know, maybe online learning is not good for everything, you know, but maybe some things online learning maybe is actually better than classroom learning in some ways. I don't know. So we could be seeing big changes from this virus, right? It could change things in many ways, I think. Okay, so maybe we can we are ready we can talk about something a little bit different now. So I was thinking about some other ideas that might be fun to talk about, and since we are learning English now, what do you think about the idea that in the future, what if English is the only language that people know? Right? So if we as human people, we move to have only one language. So maybe in 100 years from now, there will be no more Vietnamese, there will be no more Chinese, there will be no more, you know, African languages. Everybody will speak only one language. And so, of course, I would not say that it will be English, but maybe English is the root. And then everybody adds sort of their flavor to it. All so English becomes like a world language, right? So how do you think about this? Is this something that you think would be good if the world spoke only one language in 100 years? If we only spoke English or something like English? Or would this be bad? And do you think this is going to happen? Maybe you can share your thoughts
Yes.
about this idea. So maybe we'll start with Emily. What do you think about this? Do you think it would be good?
I think if everyone only speak English, uh, I think each culture maybe disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you know, language is also, I think it's also culture. It's culture of each country. You know,
Sure, yeah.
each country have its language. So if everyone only know and only speak English, um, we will we will collapse our culture.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, here's an interesting idea. Maybe there will be
Uh,
less war too, right? Maybe there is less war because if we all speak the same language, then we stop to see that we are different. You know, many times people, they think they are different and they have war because of this, because they think maybe their way of life is better than your way of life, or the opposite. You think your lifestyle is better than the other people. So this is maybe a source of problems, right? Of war and violence, because when we make other people try to be like us. So if we all spoke the same language, there would be less cultural difference, but I think there would be less maybe opportunity for violence and war, because less difference, if it's more the same, then what do we need to fight for? Because you
yeah,
see?
yeah, I agree that if everyone can use one language, they can connect together
Mm.
closely, and everyone can understand uh, uh, each other deeply.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about opinion, content of communication. But I think it's still we are still different about country, about culture country, or mm, how to say.
I have a different thinking with Emma.
Yeah,
I
please share. Yeah.
like, yeah, I like we have the same language like English or other kind of language because I think that it's kind of easy for the people of Vietnam or some country they are not native speaker like US or
Yeah.
UK, you know, and about the culture, different difficult something to to develop the culture. Um, I think you should look at Singapore or
Mm.
India.
Yeah.
They are I mean the people there they speak English, and Singapore they are from Chinese, from Malaysian,
Yeah.
and a little Indian as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But all of them they speak English and look at their economic. I think when they are good at foreign language skill, especially for English skill, they can they have a lot of relationship. They have a lot of I mean the partner in economic, yeah, economic issue. And for me or for the people in Singapore, the children they don't have to study English like the children in Vietnam like us, because if English is the second language, it's kind of hard for students to learn because well, they just only speak English when they join in the class or in the lesson. But when they go to school, they speak Vietnamese, or they go to the market, they go somewhere, they just speak Vietnamese. And I think it's better if they are speak English every time, everywhere. I think so.
Sorry, I want to clarify the question of Hiếu. You want everyone only use one language and forget mother language, or you mean uh, they are the second language and we still use mother language?
So this is just, I'm not saying that I want this or I agree with it. I'm just saying it's interesting to think about
Mm-hmm.
the good things and the bad things from this
Mm-hmm.
idea.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm way I'm thinking about it is if we all just have one language. So
Yeah,
because
just one half,
yeah, your
just
mother
one language.
language, yeah, your mother language
Yeah,
becomes my mother language. So maybe
yeah,
next generation, your children all learn English too, and then their children they only learn English, and then
and
the
they
next
don't know
children,
Vietnamese,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think Vanish, the opinions is different with your thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Vanish, you see?
Well, but maybe his thinking is about maybe in 100 years from now, but my thinking is about further down the time, further into the future. So maybe we have a mother language and you have two languages, right? You have the global language, maybe not English, but some language everybody knows, and you have your local language. But this is as we move into the future, into time, we will move in a slow way, right? We will not just all forget our language and then all learn a global language. It will be slow process, you know, your children, your children's children, your children's children, right? And it will be steady, little bit, little bit, little bit. So maybe in, say, 200 years, that you feel your mother language is now English, or not English, but the global language, right? And so you don't feel like I lost my mother language. You feel like you have your mother language. And I feel like I have my mother language, which is the same. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. But I think it would be great if we have global language, and we also have mother language. Because you know, if you want to understand maybe Vietnamese culture, you have to read books, and all of books only written by Vietnamese, you know, and to make mother language become a lot of mother language become global language. Oh, it's a long time.
At that time, we have the same culture, Emma.
Yeah,
Don't worry
yeah.
about that. I think
Maybe
I
we
like it.
have
I
we
like it.
have just one culture.
Yes, yes. What do you think, Rubies? How do you think about this? Is this good idea to have one language?
That's a nice idea. I like it. It's easy to talk with others, so easy for learning and anything. And a global language and internet make people have more power, more close, closely, closer, and I think we had a new life. I think so.
Yeah, this is how I'm thinking also. What about you, Snow? What do you think about this idea? Is it good to have only one language, or is it a bad idea?
Oh, I think it's good idea. So it's good be better if everyone knew two language, English and mother tongue. Yes, I think so.
Because I think, so here's really, there's a bigger idea that I'm thinking, right? So
I think it's not it is not good idea because you see I don't agree. I don't agree this
yeah,
idea
tell us why.
because you know a different country they have a different culture. They just have only language. It's like in the world just have a person like the same people in the world the same, not different. It's not done interesting and now have a new some new and don't enrich their life.
Yeah, you're talking about like this diversity, this cultural diversity, many different cultures. Yeah, this idea. So, but here's the idea, right? Is that if you were to, like in nature, it is good to have diversity, right? It is good to have everything mixed together. So the interesting thing is how humans don't really live like this. So for example, if Asian people were to be more married to African people and European people and South American people, then their genes, right, their DNA and their genes would become much more diverse. Yeah, and so they would be much more diverse, which means that they would be much stronger against things like the virus because there would be so much diversity. The thing that makes us weak in nature is when we have the same genes. Just like when you plant a tree in the farm and you plant only the same tree, When there is a disease, all of those trees are at risk of dying from the disease. So to make your farm strong, you want to have many different kinds of trees. So if a disease comes, it will not easily spread and kill everything on your farm. In this same way, that if humans were more diverse and mixed, so like Asian people were marrying outside of Asian culture, and US people same, European people same, African people same, it would make humans stronger. Yeah. And so the idea of you feel like I don't want one language because I want my culture. But what I mean is that if we all became more blended together, you would feel like your culture is the world culture, you know? And I think that we are actually moving in this way now, right? The East culture and West culture is now more similar than it has ever been in history, right? It is very much this, it is more similar now than maybe 100 or 200 years ago. It would have been very different, yeah? Western versus Eastern culture. But today, there is a lot of influence and mix, and it is becoming more similar, more like each other. And I think that in the future, with technology and everything, that you can have people, as culture becomes more the same, people will be more open to ideas of marrying other people, you know, from other cultures. So you won't feel like, oh, I need to marry an Asian person because Asian people understand me better. And African people will feel the same, that they don't need to marry maybe other Black people because we all have the same culture. So if we all have the same culture, then this makes everything much stronger, you see, in every way. So to have one language, one culture, one human race, yeah, and then you don't need to have borders, right? You don't have to have separate countries. You can have one government, one money, and travel anywhere you want to go. See, right now, we make a lot of these sort of false limits on humans, right? We say, okay, you are Vietnamese and you live here, and this is where you must stay. And this is your language and your money. And then we take another group of people and we give them a different place, and then they have, you see? But you don't really need this, right? Or do you? And if we had everything one, if you were marrying more people outside of your culture and outside of Vietnam, then I would say you will have less war and there will be less violence and less fighting. Because who are you fighting against? Everybody is like you. You are everybody and everybody is you. So what do you fight against now? I don't think you have much reason to fight. And if you have one government, then what is the fighting for? I think maybe the violence goes down, and things like the virus we are stronger to face things like this in the future. You know, like if we were to go to space, yeah, we send people to space to find another planet. Who would go? The richest people from the world would go. The poor people wouldn't go, right? Because they could not afford to go. So only the rich people go to space, to a new planet, and the poor people stay on Earth? Is this how it will be? I don't think that would be
No,
good.
no, it's not easy. Even they can go to an other planet.
Mm.
So what happened if there are genetic not so are not suit with a new planet too, right?
Yeah.
Why we don't stay there and find solution for problem? Just if you have a lot of money, it's not meaning in the new place and you don't know anything about it. And here in the earth, we have history, we have a lot of things, so we can sharing each other to have to pass through the trouble together. So I think that's a better. Because I also don't have a choice to go to live in in another planet too. So that's in my plan.
I see.
But I think English is a global language in the future.
Yeah.
And that improve knowledge of human a lot. I think it will the same mm, the same in the future, even it's so long. But we have can Bitokki, like when you go to go to learn and you will take note what you care, what you what is important. Take note on your paper, on your book. I think we will use English language like it in the future. I think so.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that if we had one language, I understand there would be like a loss of sort of a cultural aspect to it. But I would
Cultural.
argue, yeah, the cultural thing, you know, like Emma was talking about, to understand Vietnamese people and the history and the culture, it is important to understand the language. And I totally agree with that. But at the same time, I think that already, whether you are keeping your language or not, there are many cultural things that you are still losing now. Yeah, and because of the mix of West and East. And it's a little bit at a time. In another 100 years, I think it will be much less difference between what it means to be Vietnamese versus what it means to be Chinese versus what it means to be American. I think everything is moving towards the
So
same.
now I think if the environment in the earth is bad, the important is survival of human. It is also important like the tree in the earth. What a lot of kind of tree in the earth will protect human and anything living in here, right? So if the future we just need one language to connect each other, it's also okay too. It's it's necessary for survival of human. I think so.
I think so. Yeah, I agree. But you know, so about the language thing too, is we talk about when you go to university, for example, and if the class is in English, but the student does not have English as their first language, and they are still learning English, then they will have more problems learning than the student who already knows English, right? So
I
this is
think no.
unfair. Yeah, so for example, if you go to a university and it is in an English speaking university, right? So they don't have any Vietnamese. Then you are reading maybe about biology. Then you have to learn new words and learn the meaning also. Whereas for me, I could just spend my time learning the idea of biology, but you have to learn the idea of language and then understand the the idea that you are trying to learn in the other language. It's harder. Is more work for you. So I have an advantage, right? It is easier for me. So I will get better grades in school. And then I can go to my job when I apply and say, look, I am a better student than Ruby's because I have better grades. But really, maybe Ruby's has much more talent and ability than me. But you have to overcome more. You have to work more, much more than I do because you have to learn also the language. It's unfair. So if we had only one language, then we all start at the same level. Yeah,
Mm.
I think it's
I think
interesting.
Han she had a lot of experience about it. I will ask her. So yeah, you
So
are right. It's so hot.
I think that, you know, like what Emily is talking about is she wouldn't like this idea because she, you know, we lose culture maybe, or like what does it mean to be Vietnamese and this kind of thing. But if we all, if humans all mixed together and everybody married other cultures, other races, and this kind of thing, we would become genetically more diverse. Yeah, our genes would become much more diverse and our bodies would be stronger and we would be more likely to live. See, right now, if a virus comes, maybe, you know, Vietnamese genes, all the same kind of gene, right? It's not so different. So maybe Vietnamese people really have a big problem with this, with the virus. Maybe not this virus, but a new one in the future. Yeah, because the virus can attack the genes for Vietnamese people. So it's difficult for you to survive the virus or bacteria. But maybe if you Vietnamese people mix with African people, with Australian people, with American people, and you have kids like this, then the virus cannot, you know, you will be stronger. You see, you will be stronger in the future as people. You will have more diversity. So you will have more genetic diversity in your body, but maybe your culture will not be as diverse. So outside of your body is less diverse, but inside your body is more diverse. Whereas right now, it is outside of our body is more diverse, but inside our body is less diverse. Do you understand? You see the idea?
How do you think, Benny? Do you agree with Chris?
Yeah. I don't know, but I think, um, how can I say, mm, we have different opinion because, and you know, uh, it's kind of, how can I say, so I'm sorry, I don't know how to say, but I mean, we we have different opinion, so I think it's not right or it's not wrong at all, but it's depend on the situation. You know, something is good, but something is not good. I mean, one thing, but many side. Yeah, and for me, everything happen. We need to prepare and adapt with these thing condition. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and now I wouldn't say that I am saying that I believe this is good or bad. It's just an idea for us to talk about and to for you to share your ideas about this thought. You know, so maybe I think it's a terrible idea, maybe, you know, but I'm just saying, I am telling you what I think in some ways about the good things, or, you know, and you tell me what you think about the bad. So it's just ideas, you know. But I think that how will the future look in 100 years? I think it's fun to think about, because what we are all doing now, that the more of the world is learning English, will is more, it supports my idea that the world will have only one language in the future. You know, all of the time now, many times, local languages are becoming extinct. They are not used anymore. Yeah, so older people know a local language. Yeah, and then they die, and then the language is not known anymore. The language is gone forever. And we look at things like Latin language, yeah, old Latin language. This was huge. This was like English is today, and Latin is not used anymore. This language is dead. So the idea that, you know, well, we will always have Vietnamese or we will always have English. I think maybe in 500 years, nobody will speak English anymore. English will be dead, you know, because this is like Latin. This happened in Latin 500 years ago. All of the educated and the scientists and the governments, they all spoke Latin, but now nobody does in the world. So today in English, it's the global business language. That's how Latin was. In 500 years from now, we might only see English in history book and say, oh, this is what people spoke. You know, many people spoke English at this time. Maybe no more English, no more Vietnamese, no more Chinese.
It's so far. I think so. I think English is the best now.
For now. But, you know, I would argue, so
It's
this
very
happened,
difficult.
this big change happened 500 years, say, in Latin, right? So no more Latin language. And I would say that English would maybe disappear even sooner, because now we have technology, and technology makes change happen very fast. So I think it will not take so many years, and that perhaps English will be gone much sooner than 500 years. So I think there's big changes. Yeah, there are big changes happening right now. And in 100 years, I think life will be very, very different for humans. So I guess if you have any writing or anything you want me to review over the next few days, I can. We don't have any assignment for today because we were still going to talk about parenting. So I think I read everybody's paper, right? Maybe I have Emma. I have to maybe read yours and correct you, make some suggestions to it. I don't think I read yours, but I read everybody else's paper and made comments, I think. Is this true? Yeah, I made comments for everybody's,
Yeah.
or no?
You mean take note your suggestion on?
No. Did I read your paper and make suggestions for how to improve your paper? Did I do that for everybody? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember because many times I have to read I have a new class every day. So sometimes I maybe only did half of the reading for the papers in the group, and then I forget, So if I didn't read your paper to make suggestions, you can just tell me and I will read it, but I just maybe forget sometimes, because maybe we have breakfast or lunch and then I forget to go back to read the other paper. Yeah, in new class every day.
Peter visit have our team a few days ago. So
well,
your paper.
Peter is not correcting their papers. That's me, but I have his name. It comes up, the name is me.
Oh, really?
Is me. Yeah,
you?
It's me. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I just think Peter make it.
We just think that Mr. Locke
No,
review it.
it's not him. I'm using his Google Drive. It's under his, so it's.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
I open it up.
I don't know.
And then I open it up always, and it's under his name. So I just make the change because it doesn't matter to me if it says my name or his. I mean, it's not important. But yeah, so
we will have a new topic today. I mean, we will receive new topic today, and we will write it down and post it to on Facebook at
tomorrow
8 p.m. tomorrow.
I see. Okay. So yeah,
Then
if
we
you
will have a new discussion.
yeah, new discussion. If you have questions about anything, you can ask me, and I can help you to the extent I can. The way I've been doing it is I read the students' papers in my class that day, right? And then I can make suggestions for your paper for our class. But next week, I won't do that because I have my other class, right? So I
Yeah.
cannot, we have a lot of students now. So I cannot make suggestions for everybody's paper every time. It's too many papers. So that's how I've been doing it, is just doing my class, and then I read their paper, and then the next class I do that. So, but still, if you have questions or whatever, you know, you can always send me your questions, and I will try to help and answer them. But I don't have a lot of time with this because a lot of students. So
Sure.
yeah, okay. So
Okay.
I will post our video in our room, our Google Drive folder. I will send it to you on Facebook and in our Google Drive folder. And yeah, if you want to watch this video, if you think it's helpful, then that's great.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a good discussion with everybody this morning. I hope you enjoy.